So whoever would be watching this, maybe my future self, this is my first test of using some of the live stream software. La la la, so I can scale it and whatever. Anyways, I was having a conversation today with a good friend of mine, David, and I got ranting on some new stuff and some old stuff. So what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to attempt to conduct this YouTube streaming test by talking about the juxtapositioning of a couple of things that I found myself running into as of late, and then the thought process that it reminded me of, and it reminded me of an old sort of dormant project, and then I'm going to attempt to sort of explain that project to you. So we'll see how that goes. Um, for various reasons, I've taken myself off of Facebook and Instagram, and so there's been a lot of energy. When you're addicted, I used to be, addicted to just about everything, including cigarettes. Or one of my old girlfriend's dad's, he went from cigarettes to pounding sunflower seeds. But you go from one thing to the other, and so a lot of that energy that used to be spent on Facebook and Instagram has gravitated over to YouTube. So the amount of subscriptions that I have been going through on YouTube, um, most of which have to do with getting more wealthy. So channels talking about cryptocurrencies. This guy, Meet Kevin, is incredible to me. And in fact, I literally watched Kevin last week during like GameStop and stuff like that. He live streamed for like 8 hours, 9 hours, and he was using live streaming software like this, but he had lots of mixers, so he's using the live stream software and he's switching from this view. Uh, MC exactly. Transition. Yeah, see, Kevin would do that flawlessly. He would switch from view to view to view, and anyways, he had like 30,000 live viewers, and he was looking at the sticks, checking charts, and listening in, pulling in live streams from CNN and Fox and CNBC, MSNBC, and pulling in all sorts of stuff simultaneously. He's doing the job like a one-man production company with 30,000 people live. So I mean, I find that's fascinating. But that channel and channels like the same thing. So my context is about money, it's about education, it's about thinking about precious metals and trends and those type of things. But these people are smart and they're confident and they're immensely capable. I'm using Kevin as an example. The level of effectiveness is incredible. So much so that 30,000 people would watch live, to say nothing of the people who've joined and support through Patreon and are throwing super chats and stuff like that. And so I'm just running through some of the channels that, as a result of being off Facebook and off of Instagram, I've started to follow these things. So I'm following, and I've been watching the Lucasfilm, everything since Mandalorian 2 and Luke coming back and all of the push and pull. There was Drunk C3PO and Geeks and Gamers and Star Wars Theory continuing to talk about the world of Star Wars, the expanded universe, and all the push and pull about what is and what isn't, and it's fascinating. Anyways, so that's one side. And then I ran into this YouTube channel, which is, it's called Invisible People, and it consists of Mark Horvath. Mark has experienced the highs and lows of the American dream. That's interesting. Highs and lows. From a successful career in television to barely surviving, homeless and addicted on Hollywood Boulevard. But he found his voice again when he hit the streets armed with a digital camera and a smartphone to talk to homeless people about their experiences. It's absolutely incredible, and it just stopped me dead in my tracks listening to these people who, in a season of their life, are not necessarily confident, and if there was a bell curve on the one side of the bell curve, I would say, okay, so these are people who are in a season of confidence deficit, and they're struggling. It's not the funnest time for a season. And on the other side, on the YouTube channel, I'm watching content of people who've got money. I mean, it's obvious you got money if you're showing your trading platform and you're pulling five-figure trades live and losing them, and what's the big deal? And who knows? I mean, money's not a problem. So, but as a viewer, for me, the feelings that I felt going back and forth were, um, well, it was refreshing and challenging. And so when I explained it to David today, well, and also I'm thinking about, like, I don't think you can hear the sound, but if you can hear the, yeah, San Francisco's falling apart. Tents, drugs, trash everywhere, overdoses everywhere. Anyway, so you know, Silicon Valley, I suppose, is this ultimate juxtaposition. On the one hand, not only do you have the haves, but you have like super abundant visionary thinkers. Elon tweets about Dogecoin or buys $1.5 billion USD's worth of Bitcoin and sends shockwaves through the market. And anyways, but on the same street corner, there's all these brothers and sisters, fellow travelers who, yeah, not having the easiest time of things. So a fascinating sort of discussion about nature and nurture and variables that are within your control and variables that are outside of your control, and the wisdom to know the difference, and the virtues of erring on the side of victim mentality versus the virtues of erring on the audacious side of personal responsibility and bootstrapping yourself up. Anyways, okay, so there's the juxtapositioning. What did it remind me of? It reminded me of an ad that I've wanted to see for a long time, and it's an ad about U-Haul, the moving company. I'm not even joking. At one time, I was in the Apple store and there was a guy wearing a U-Haul vest, and I ran up to him and it's like, I gotta get this off my chest. I got this creative in my brain. I don't know what to do with it, which is essentially what I'm doing now. But so the title of this video is going to actually be something about how U-Hauls. It was never about boxes. It was never about moving. It was about courage. So what I've done is I'm gonna sort of play a slideshow because I haven't like done any thumbnails. I haven't storyboarded it yet, but essentially I'm gonna describe to you the campaign, and I'm gonna have some video or some pictures and things that go along with it. So here we go. I'll probably minimize my little icon here. So this is an idea about U-Haul. I can call the campaign about U-Haul courage. Anyways, so I'll read my copy and show you some pictures. It might be kind of awkward. Something like this. It would go something like this. What does a hero look like? Real heroes. Are heroes always popular? What does courage look like? Do you think it would be easy to recognize? What does it take to be a visionary? Is there any honor for those who die trying? The streets are full of those. What about those who put away their dreams so others can take a shot at theirs? Does that take courage? Is there bravery in that kind of self-sacrificing, in that kind of mediocrity? Ask a parent. The town squares change a little. New tech and new toys. The media changes, but the messages, maybe. Buy this to improve. You haven't tried this fast-acting, proven Miracle potion? You must be a failure then. They sell the end, and it's a popular, glamorous end. But what about the middle? What about the fight, the test, or the journey? I'll explain my Banksy quote later. So at this point, I'm going to go through, I think, 5 scenarios that occur off the top of my head that could represent different legs in the campaign, or different ways in which you can talk about people who have the courage to square their shoulders to change, and they do it. And it's obvious if someone's driving U-Haul, they don't have enough money to pay someone else to help them move their stuff. That's a given. And I think that U-Haul would be wise to own it. To own it and say, if I had money, I would pay someone to move this stuff. Clearly, I don't. You're driving down the highway. It's an advertisement saying, I'm doing this myself because I'm not soaking in cash. This mom is courageous, and this story could be told through the eyes of her child who watched her remove herself from an abusive partner and flee, pack up their stuff, pack up and leave. That's a hero. That's what heroes do. I would assert that people who change their country, their culture, learn new languages, and educate themselves, that takes courage. So another one of these could be about moving stuff across cultures. Going into the big city. Maybe it could be first in a family, first in multiple generations to go to post-secondary, breaking cycles, negative cycles, and starting new, forging new trails. At some point in time, I would suggest that a lot of us owe a lot of our abundance and our perceived self-reliance to winning a geographic lottery because someone had the guts and courage to make change. Or it could be just auditioning, taking the nose on the chin over and over and over and over again until you finally realize it's probably up to you to validate. That's it. If you're looking for, maybe you never needed their validation anyways. Maybe you're going to be like Prince Zuko and realize that the Fire Lord was garbage. Garbage. Redirect lightning at that old fool. Whoosh. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Or what happens if you're not the top 40 under 40? Vic Lee over on LinkedIn had a post today. I'll tag you, Vic, but I definitely, if you're not the top 40 under 40, you're a so-called late bloomer. Anyways, well, I don't even know what picture is going to be next here. Oh, this one, just because, well, I know some moms, and I have a mom who's like this, and I think that that is hero work. That's, you're looking at it. That's the self-sacrifice. That's courage to, yeah. So that picture made the cut just because I think moms carry the weight. Maybe it ain't so much that they got there because of who they are. Maybe they are who they are because they never gave up getting there. We were never about boxes, moving dollies, storage, or the mom's attic. U-Haul is courage. Do-it-yourself change. Courage to face the change and say, bring it on. It ain't about the end. It's about the going. The get up and keep getting up and keep on keeping on. I see you changing. I see your courage. You're not going to believe this, but this is for real. So here's the American, or here's the sign language chart. You're driving down the road, you're in a U-Haul, same as you're in a Volkswagen, you notice Volkswagens, or you're in a Jeep, you notice Jeeps. It's hard to state why that happens. But so you see someone else in a U-Haul, what do? Don't just wave, you throw the sign. And what's the sign? The sign is UH. And what does that look like? It looks like this. So far as I can tell, that looks like a U, oh, and that looks like an H. Just like that. That's the sign. U-Haul, I see you. I see you making change. I see you on your journey. I see you doing it. That's how that's done. Anyways, that's my idea. And I feel like it could have legs. And it ain't about boxes. U-Haul is courage. And when you see it, you should be like, that's what I'm talking about. This, yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't know what to do with that, but like, even, I felt like there's a piece of that going on in this Nike ad. If you actually listen to the text, and maybe I'll put this in the link. I'll put the Nike thing, maybe a link to Vic Lee. Anyways, I like this because one time when I was running, I was like thinking to myself, "Am I a runner?" I'm like, "Well, what does it take to be a runner?" I'm like, "If you run, and then you're a runner." I suppose what does it take to be a YouTuber? If you're YouTubing, then you're a YouTuber. Actually, no. Being a YouTuber means a lot of other things. But I back to the my other monitor just blipped out. But back to thinking about the people who don't have YouTube channels necessarily and aren't live streaming on YouTube. Probably don't have a crypto wallet necessarily, maybe. What combination of nature and nurture are at work here? What sort of heroic victories have been achieved in these brothers and sisters' lifetimes? I just sometimes have a hard time. Been at events sometimes, and there was a speaker, and I felt like the speaker, probably not intentionally, but implied in, I mean, maybe I'm just jealous. I'm just jealous of the achievements. Of course I am. I have had to sacrifice in order to choose one thing. The opportunity cost that you incur is real. I sometimes question whether sacrifice is sacrifice unless you can identify the opportunity cost of the thing that you had to give up in exchange for that thing. But when people are talking about work, it's like the market is unsympathetic. Excellence is excellence. It's like love or hate. Simon Cowell, he speaks the truth about, in a Steve Jobs-esque sort of way about quality. So the market will reward excellence and not before, like this video's garbage. I'd have to stay at it for a couple of years before it would even like make baseline. But I felt like the person who was speaking was implying that everybody in the audience hadn't achieved success, and then so the definition of success was narrowly defined. And I thought, you need to be a little bit more careful about the battles that people are fighting, the nature and nurture and geographic and genetic lotteries that people either won or have not won as a result of things that in the Serenity Prayer they cannot change, and they must employ serenity to deal with. Certainly, the invitation is to have courage and change the things that you can, and having the wisdom to know the difference. But I felt in that moment, I'm like, you don't know how many people in this audience are taking care of sick relatives. You don't know how many of them are working on a second language. You don't know how many people in the audience here have lost a number of businesses. You don't know how many people in the audience have maintained their integrity despite taking the quick and easy path, you know? So let's stay focused on the work to be sure. But it's like I used to snowboard. Now when I watch a snowboard movie, I kind of gag. It's like listening to some 20-year-old circus clown who's obviously got more agility than and dexterity and cartilage and bones and like pontificating about the purpose and the meaning of life. It's like you haven't even changed a diaper, bro. Like go easy on the purpose of life stuff. It's like one day your bones will break too, and then you'll have to be forced to look at your mortality. And maybe there's anomalies like Tony Hawk and Danny Way and brands that survive and guys that are lifers and guys who can bat juggle the whole thing, but whatever. I'm just saying wider definition of success. And for those people who are on Skid Row, the people who aren't YouTubing, or just how do we get some sort of conversation about celebrating the middle ground, the getting there from where you were to where you're going. But we're just so good at celebrating. I personally think what we're actually celebrating is popularity. I actually think excellence is what we pay lip service to, but it's really popularity that we worship. There's plenty of artists who and people who have practitionership mastery, but if you don't have popularity, you don't know the marketing game, well then you're out. Anyways, I'm out. On that note, I'm gonna stop my live stream and go back and see if it actually worked. Peace out, Napoleon.